Hey everybody, welcome to a Cricut craft tutorial. Today we are going to make a canvas sign. This is not going to be a reverse canvas. This is just going to show you guys how to put regular vinyl on a canvas sign. So this one's going to go into my bathroom, and it's only, I believe, an 8x8, but I'm going to double check this because I want to make sure. Oh, I lied. It's a 12x12. So we do have quite a bit of space to work with. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and start with my shape so that I have a kind of an idea of the sizing. So all I'm going to do is this square, and I know that it's 12 by 12, and I want to give myself a little extra space, so I'm just going to make my square 11.75 by 11.75. All that does is give me a template and kind of shows me my spacing a little bit better so that I get an idea if I like the way that it fits. So I know that my first line is going to say get naked. Now, as you can see, it is running a little bit slow today. We run into these problems a lot with Design Space. It's just something that you have to get used to. And I know that I'm going to use Magnolia Sky for the get naked part. And I'm going to bold it because I want it a little bit fatter. And I actually don't like the capital G in Magnolia Sky, so I may use something different. And this one is just a personal preference. You know, everybody sits there and goes, oh, I want this exact font, and I need it to look exactly like this. For me, I really like to make things very much my own. I like to take an idea that maybe somebody had and play with it and make it more my own piece and my own design. So I like to encourage you guys to do the same. Sure, take somebody's general idea, but make it your own. Have fun with it. Find a font that you like. Find a picture or change up the wording a little bit. That's what I like about crafting. You know, you don't have to be the same as everyone else and all of their crafts. I don't like the K. It looks like a B. It's weird. So, but this is where it comes down to, like, you just play with it and see what works for you and what font you like, because it can be so different depending on what letters you've used or are using. Like this one's super fun, but I don't think it's really quite what I'm going for. So you just play around with it. You can use pretty much, I mean, you don't have to do a script font. You could do something else. It's just all a matter of what you want and how you want your design to look. And of course, my dog is going to bark, because why wouldn't she? I think we're going to end up with Magnolia Sky. And sometimes that's just how it happens. You just sort of end up using something. Oh, nope, found it. We're going to use Lovely Day. So I love this one. I think this one's really pretty. So we're going to go ahead and do the letter spacing down. So up here at the top, just click letter space and just click the down arrow a bunch until your letters touch. Now, this is where everybody sits there and says, oh, my letters are all jumbled. If you're using a script font, weld them. Do not weld anything but a script font. Welding takes away any of these cut lines. And I'm actually going to ungroup this before I do anything because I want to move the naked closer to the get. I think they're really far apart and it's kind of awkward. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to select the word get, and I'm going to move this square because it's kind of in the way. Square is super in the way. So sometimes when the square gets in the way, I just throw it out of the way, and all I'm going to do is select all the font, and I'm just going to weld it. Again, welding gets rid of all your cut lines. You do not weld unless you're getting rid of cut lines. I don't know how many more ways I can say that. So like I said, this is going to help us figure out how big we want our design. So it says get naked, and the next line is going to say just kidding. Now I'm going to use a different font. I don't want to use Lovely Day for this part. This one I want something a little bit more plain, a little more of a blocky font because I don't like to mix too many fonts. So I like something that's got a little bit more of a block look to it. A lot of times I just default to Times New Roman, but I'm going to see if I can find... Oh, see, that's nice. Okay. I'm going to unbold it, though. I don't want it bold. I'm just going to do this one regular. So we're just going to put just kidding. And the next line's going to be, it's a half bath. And I'm going to use the same font. Oops. Make sure you grab your correct font. We're going to go ahead and center it. I could have done this a couple different ways, and I'll actually show you. I'll do it really quick this way now that I know which font I'm using. You can just do, so we know that we want just kidding. Oops. And then it's a half bath. And we can go ahead and move this around, and you can use your alignment to center it so that both lines are centered to each other, and then you just center it to your other one. That one you'll have to do when you take your block away just to make sure. And then the next line is going to say, don't make it weird. And I'm actually going to do weird, I think, in a different font. So we're just going to say, don't make it. And we'll move it over a bit. And then I'm going to do weird. And weird we'll do in something kind of funny, kind of funky. The other thing, too, is sometimes, like with these, you'll want to blow them up really big. Because see, like, all the jaggedy lines on that? That's going to cut really awful and annoying. So I'm going to not use something that's going to be really jaggedy. And again, this is all just a matter of your personal preference and like what you want it to look like. Like, I think that is kind of hysterical. And you know how like when you look at a word too much and it just looks like it's spelled wrong? Well, right now weird looks spelled wrong. So I always just double check all of my spelling. It's just when you stare at a word too much and it just can't make it make sense. So this is what I have. I have I said get naked, just kidding, it's a half bath. Don't make it weird. Now there's a little bit of space down here, so what I'm gonna end up doing, I think, oops, and not doing that, I'm gonna make everything just a little bit bigger because I can. I've got the space for it, and I don't really want to make like this big empty hole, but I also don't want it, like, see, I want the weird to be really big compared to everything else, but I also don't know that I want it like that. So this is a lot of just designing it, coming up with what you want your design to look like and how you want it to be. So this is all just your own personal thing. And again, I know I have a little bit more space to play with than what I'm showing on my screen. So I know that I can move things around a little bit more, make things bigger. And I think we have it. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of the big square because we don't need that. And I'm just going to move things around a little bit more now that I have the grid lines behind it, because that's going to help me figure out how much spacing I need between other things. Between the lines and stuff, you can kind of see that I usually use my mouse as a measuring tool and see how far it is below the J to that, and then I'm going to try to move this line down a little bit because I have that apostrophe, and if I scoot it down just a little, I can try to even it out with that. Because when we cut this, since it's all going to be in one color, we're going to go ahead and attach the whole thing. So you just draw the square around everything and click attach. All that does is makes it so that you have everything stays in one spot on the mat. So when I click make it, it keeps it all in one space. So we're going to go ahead and cut it out. I'm going to weed it. You guys don't need to watch all of that. And then when we come back, we will get it placed onto our canvas. So here's our 12 by 12 canvas, and we are going to paint it with some Deco Art Americana, some color called Indian Turquoise. I got it from Joann Fabrics, I believe. And this is what it looks like. It was on clearance. I love a good clearance. And all I'm going to do, because normally I would totally just put this on a plate or something, but with this, I'm just going to slap it on there, because this doesn't have to be perfect, because I kind of like the weird lines look. And I don't want to put a really thick coat on this. This one's going to be pretty thin coat. And then we're going to do our vinyl, I think, in a gray. The bathroom that this is going in is all done in whites and grays. So I wanted to use something like a canvas to brighten it up in there, because it's so just boring and it's a tiny half bath. So this way we can have a little bit of bright color, a little pop of color without it being too crazy. So all I'm using is just a sponge brush and just spreading around the paint. Like I said, I'm not doing this really, in any kind of pattern. I'm not making it perfect. I'm just pouring a little bit of paint on and spreading it around. Like I said, you don't have to go super thick. You don't have to be perfect. Just cover the canvas, and you don't even have to. You could do this more of like a watercolor look where you don't cover the whole thing. This is really where you guys get to be creative and kind of put your own touch on your designs. So as you can see, I am not a painter. I could never be Bob Ross with his happy trees. It is not a thing I possess. There are just some crafts that are beyond my skill set. But you guys could use just any kind of brush. I just find the foam brush moves a little quicker. And just make sure that you cover your entire canvas. And I'm going to try to get the sides while we're here. I'm probably going to end up with paint all over my fingers doing this. But I'm going to try to get all the sides so that I don't have to worry about them later, and I can just get everything done in one quick design. This is a craft that you guys could do with your kids too. It'd be really fun to let your kids paint the canvas and then go ahead and have them do their own, you can put your vinyl on top of it, and then they would have their own little piece of artwork. This would be just a really fun craft to do with them, and you can kind of let them go crazy and pick their colors, mix them, do whatever they want to do, and be just as creative as they want to be. So this is my last side. I'm going to get this one done. I'm going to let this dry, and then when we come back, we can go ahead and we'll probably put a layer of Mod Podge on this just to help the vinyl stick a little bit. And then once we do that, we'll let that layer dry, and then we can apply the vinyl. We've got the decal all weeded and on our transfer tape. So all we're going to do is lay it on our painted canvas. And I did kind of wipe it off just to make sure. The nice thing is this won't stick right away, so you can kind of move it around a little bit to try to get it to where you want it so that it looks even. I think that looks pretty good. Now because this is like not a reverse canvas, there's like a hole in the back. So I'm actually going to try doing this from this side to sort of put some pressure on the vinyl so that I'm not stretching out the canvas. And this is a tedious process. You do need to take your time when peeling your transfer tape off, because your letters are not really going to want to stick to the canvas right away. So just take your time and go slow. And you're just going to peel like I always do at an angle. And you'll see that as you're peeling, some of them are going to try to pop up, and that's alright. And if you want, as you go, you can take some of your transfer tape and just cut it off if it's getting in the way. But you just slowly peel back, and you'll see that I've got the one word out, so that one's all done. And I'll just kind of just gently run my hand along it just to make sure that it's holding. And then I'm going to move on to this one. And you'll notice that as I do this, I roll it off and not pull. So I just roll, and I just gently roll, and then I watch each edge as I go past it to make sure that it's sticking. The one thing you're going to want to watch a lot are these going to be the dots for the words, or the eyes, and for the exclamation point and the period. So you'll see this stuck really, really nicely. And we're just going to keep going down, and like I said, just take it nice and slow. No rush. Just want to make sure everything's sticking. Now I did have a dot move. I just noticed it. It must have either moved when I was weeding or when I put it on the canvas. So you can do one of two things. You can do this with your finger, or if you're very, very careful because you don't want to poke a hole in the canvas, which you can do, you're going to want to peel it up with your weeding tool and move it. I'm going to try really hard to do this because it's really in an awkward spot and it looks really bad right there. I'll come back to it in a moment. But we are going to make sure that that is moved so that it's on the canvas the correct way. So let's fix that really quick. And sometimes this does happen when you guys are doing these things, like your punctuation can move. And just peel it off really, really carefully. And then you're just going to carefully, of course it's stuck to my finger, never fails, place it back where it goes. And sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to get it off of your finger, but we fixed it and our sign is now done. This was super easy, really fun to do, and doesn't take a lot of time. You guys can make these for all sorts of parts of your house. You can do this with heat transfer vinyl as well. I just chose to use the color I had in the 651. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave those down below. I'm always happy to answer them for you. I make these tutorials because you guys request them, so if you are looking for anything, make sure you post that down below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. Have a great day.